Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are continuing on with the Halloween in July series, but this is a special episode. I am introducing a new series that I will be doing here on my card making channel as well as my Bath & Body Products channel. I'm calling it Paper Fizz Friday, where I will be featuring a Bath & Body project and a card making project. To start off this card, I'm going in and just ripping off the edges of some black cardstock. This was originally cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now I'm going in with some Distress Grit Paste in Crypt, and I'm just putting that on 2 of the corners. This is a new bottle of Crypt paste, so I decided just to use what was in the lid. And then of course I'll seal that up with some press and seal. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and rip some more cardstock. Lots of cardstock ripping in this one. This again was originally cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm not ripping as much on this one because this one will be the main matting. Now I'm going to go in with some Antique Linen Distress ink. But before I did that, I decided to crumple up the paper to give it more of the aged, grungy look. And I'm just going around the edges with this ink. That's all you're going to be able to see in the final card. This does not have to be a perfect blend. I'm going for grungy, antiqued, old paper type of look. I could have actually used old paper ink too. That would work if that's what you have. And I'm going to do the same thing with the brushed corduroy. This is just to darken up the edges a little bit and give it a little bit more interest. And I decided I was going to rob my kitchen of some cheesecloth because this is going to be a mummy card. So I wanted to add some fabric texture to the card here. And I'm going to go in with those same 2 inks and just distress those. And I'm just haphazardly putting on the ink here. Nothing perfect. We're going for grunge. We're going for dirty. We're going for old mummy. I don't end up using both of these pieces on the 2 cards that I made. However, I will show you what I did with them in the end. And if you just heard that snoring, I apologize. My dogs are next to me, which is normal. I'm just crumpling that up to fray it some more. And these are the 2 pieces that I'll end up using on the card, or the cards. Then I'm just cleaning up any extra ink that may be on my work surface there with the panels of cheesecloth. And I'll be using this cute dancing mummy die from Spellbinders. I did go ahead and cut those off screen using my Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine. And I'm just coloring the main portions of the body with pumice stone distress ink. I have a very limited cardstock selection, so I do this a lot, which is fine because I don't mind doing it and I love my distress inks. They were actually the first ink pads I ever bought way back when. I still have, I think it was the original vintage photo and still use it. I just re-ink it. Here I'm going in with Lost Shadow distress ink on the wraps of the mummy. And again, just kind of haphazardly putting it on there. For the eyes, I went in with Hickory Smoke Distress ink originally, but in the end card, you'll see I ended up just coloring them in with a black marker because that dried back lighter than I wanted. And then for the cheeks, I'm going in with Fired Brick. These pieces are itty bitty little pieces, so I just took them out of the die and put them straight on the sticky mat. Now I'm just coloring a piece of scrap cardstock with that Fired Brick distress ink. And I'll go ahead and die cut it using this heart die from Memory Box. Then I'm just going to go in and assemble everything. These dies are really easy to assemble. This is only the second project I've done using multi-layer dies like this. This was not a thing back when I first started card making. So it was fun. You know, it was fun kind of getting into this, and I've got a couple more dies I want to use. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and pampering that like button, show it a little love. I do greatly appreciate it, and it helps send my videos out to others who may enjoy them. If you're enjoying it and you haven't already, please go ahead and also pamper that subscribe button. Here I'm just putting a couple pieces of Scotch tape on the back of the mummy face. I'm just going to use that as the glue for the eyes and the cheeks. And I highly recommend a pair of reverse tweezers if you have them for this. These are definitely fiddly little bits. Here I'm just going in with my anti-static tool. This is the one from Simon. And I am going to be stamping a sentiment from the Punny Mummy stamp set from Trinity Soaps. And I'm using my VersaFine Clair ink. This is a new stamp, so I'm just going in and kind of priming it with my finger there. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that twice since I'm making 2 cards. Here I'm just going in with my clear embossing powder to emboss those. Every time I emboss, I remind myself I really need to get bigger containers for my most used embossing powders. And I also have the coordinating die set for the stamps, so I'm just going in and cutting those out. And I'm taking the antique linen distress ink and I'm just going to grunge those up a bit. I decided to go ahead and cut out a couple more pieces to layer on the back of the stamped piece, just to give it a little bit of dimension. So each sentiment will have 3 layers, 2 blank and 1 stamped. And now that everything is dry, we're on to assembly. I'm just using my liquid glue to assemble everything since all the pieces are very distressed. And I just cut a piece of black cardstock that I did have in my stash, and I'm using that for the card bases. I'm using a generous amount of glue on the black cardstock because that's going to be what holds the cheesecloth to the main backing there. And then putting an acrylic block on it to make sure everything adheres well. And you can see the Crypt paste does dry back basically translucent. It was just there to add a little bit of texture. And I'm just going in and cutting off the extra cheesecloth and then grunging it up a bit more, fraying it. Here I'm just lining up where everything will be on the finished card just so I can make sure everything fits. At this point, I had completely forgotten about the heart that I wanted to add to my little mummy here, so you'll see that in the finished card. I added that off screen when I colored the eyes in black. I'm going to go ahead and pop him up on some foam squares. These little round ones that I had work perfectly for the little legs. Those are from Your Next Stamp. I got them free with one of my orders and they work perfect for this. I just stacked 2 up because they're a little bit thinner than the other foam squares that I used. And there we go, there's a finished card. Admittedly, I fiddled with those legs just playing with this for quite a while. I was having so much fun watching him dance. And here's the finished card. So you can see here that I added the heart and then colored in the eyes. And for the Fizz portion, I created these cute mummy bath bombs. That video will be available on my soaps channel and is linked below. And I made that cute little unwrap me tag using one of the other sentiments in the Punny Mummies Trinity stamp set. If you're interested, a limited number of these sets will be available on my website at divinegoddesssoaps.com. And as always, take some time to pamper your inner goddess today, whether that be taking a nice long bath or creating something. Self-care is so important for every her, him, and they, and I will see you in the next one.